have to begin with Iwilldoit, personal favourite of mine. How proud are you of the horse that he's become and what he continues to do, you know, race and race?
No, he's a horse of a lifetime, really, and I never forget seeing him at Stan Brown's, the breeder's house, who's only a mile from my parents. I think I saw him as a 2-year-old only, and walked into the stable and just like, you know, he just stood out, you know, and for my very novice-y eye at the time, I really just, you know, took to him and managed to persuade Stan to let me take him on board and train him. So it's an amazing story to have bred a Welsh National winner from, you know, only 10 miles down the road. It is just stuff of fairy tales. So and like you say, he didn't sort of set the world alight initially, which some of these sort of staying horses probably do. They take their while to come to themselves, but yeah, he's been a horse of a lifetime, and to win the Welsh National was very special for us.
He's clearly, considering his age, he's not had lots of miles because of, you know, his issues. What does the future hold for him?
Ultimately, I don't think we see him as a Grand National horse. We obviously know he loves soft ground, heavy ground. Personally, I would love to get him out to France one day before it's too late and he's too old, because I think you know, I think some of those races out there with fantastic prize money would just really suit him in those conditions. So that's something I'm still trying to beavering away at, and hopefully can potentially get him out there. But look, like you say, he hasn't got many miles on the clock. There's no reason why we couldn't be going back for another go at the Welsh National next season.
Al Dancer, obviously, we saw you earlier with him. He's a horse that's been a real credit to the yard too, and sounds like you're trying to go down the same route you did last year.
Yeah, so yeah, amazing horse for Mr. Walters and connections to be a Betfair hurdle winner and still come back to being as good as he is at the age of 11. Like I say, a poignant winner last year at Aintree a few days after the crash, and he's just a dude of a horse to have around. He's just a very sort of likeable horse, loves his work, and sort of was a good winner first time out for us this season. So yeah, the plan this season will be to try and go and win the Racing Post Chase now, the race that Our Power won last year. So going right-handed, stepping him up to 3 miles, that should suit. And you know, with a horse rated 152 now, you're sort of limited to where you can really go. But yeah, what can you say? He's just been a great horse for connections.
Stolen Silver, another real yard flag bearer.
Yeah.
You can never miss him, and he's been a bit of a legend too.
Yeah, no, great horse for us, and came back from Nigel's and sort of thrived then. Really, he sort of you know, he won first time out of Market Race, and I thought he was going to be a top class 2-miler, and then as he went on, he's got a little bit slower, so we obviously stepped him up, and then up to 3 miles this season. So won really nicely first time out. Had a nice enough run in the Coral Gold Cup, and just came back really sore, to be honest with you. Had a hard race, and we'll hopefully have him back out for one of the spring handicaps somewhere. But you know, we've barely scratched the surface with him over 3 miles, so I'd like to think, please God, if we can get him back to his best, that there's still more to come. And
would he, like Iwilldoit, as sort of more of a soft ground horse, a Stolen Silver more quite ground dependent as well?
I wouldn't think it bothers him what ground he's running on. He's like, to look at, you'd think butter wouldn't melt in his mouth, but he's an absolute raving lunatic to ride at home, like on the gallop. So he just gets on with it. I don't think if it mattered if it was hard, you know, quick ground or soft ground. But obviously, you know, these staying handicaps over 3, ultimately, you know, the softer it is, the harder it's going to be for him. But yeah, I just love that horse, and hopefully we can get him back to his best, and there should be more to come.
Ed Keeper is a horse that, you know, you've been really taken aback this season. Maybe he was just a bit unlucky, wasn't he, at Cheltenham, and he's a horse with a big future, obviously, over the big obstacles. How will you map out his season?
I think we'll probably, you know, just give him 1 or 2 more runs this season. You know, it might even just be next time out at Sandown on the 3rd. There's a lovely race for us, 3-mile handicap hurdle, very valuable pot. I guess you can start to get a little bit greedy when you then realise a horse is quite nice. Like, we wouldn't have been surprised if he'd pulled up first time out at Foss last when he first ran, because he showed us nothing at home. He's one of those, so laid back, schooled really nicely, but just, you know, his work was just average enough, and we were pairing him up with the slowest horse in the yard back then. So yeah, it'd be silly for me to sort of start dreaming too much and getting greedy. I think we just got to just take one step at a time. Like I say, fingers crossed he comes out of the next race okay, and that could nearly do him, and then we're going novice chasing next season. Yeah,
so is that always going to be the plan? Do you ever get tempted to give him another spin around? Or
depending on how they come out of it ultimately, but you know, I like to think that because we train the way we do and we don't over race them, you have our dancers and you have Iwilldoit, you know, still going strong at the age of 11. So yeah, I just don't see any value in over racing the horses early on in their careers, because you're only going to pay the price, and you're asking for problems with injuries then.
Angel's Breath, a horse that obviously deserves a victory. What was that experience like bringing him back? Because it was an awful long time. He went through a lot, but he's clearly got it all still going for him. But he's not getting any younger, so it can't be easy.
No, so I guess you could say he's probably lucky to be alive. The owners were extremely patient with him, and at the time, I guess, never, didn't have any expectations of whether he'd actually be racing again or being retired. So it was an enormous journey back to where we are now, and very kindly was given the opportunity to train him. So yeah, it was very much one step at a time. And I think with a horse that's been off for such a long time like that, they sort of take a couple of runs just to get back into the swing of things. So that was a bit of a fact-finding mission last season, and to see whether the leg would take it and what have you. So yeah, look, it's amazing to have him. He's got so much enthusiasm for the game at home. He feels different to any other horse you ride. Like he's just on the gallops, he's just got such a big engine, and he just finds it all so easy. So unfortunately, I wouldn't say he's the horse he used to be, for obvious reasons. But he's still certainly showing us that he wants to do it. And for that reason, we're going to just keep tipping away with him and trying to find him the right opportunities. We probably chucked him in the deep end a couple of times now at Cheltenham, and we'll just try and lower the sights a little bit and do what we can to get his head in front for connections, because they've been enormously patient. But yeah, he's a hugely exciting horse still, and it's a pleasure to have him, to be honest.
Alfie's Princess, we saw you riding her earlier. She's clearly another enthusiastic goer. She likes to be in front. She looks more like a boy, doesn't she? She's ran in a very hot race last time, didn't she? And you think that she's got plenty of potential going forward.
Definitely. Our horses weren't quite right last season. She ran a blinder and nearly won the Henrietta Knight listed bumper, and then ran a nice race at Aintree, having sort of a good break in between. So yeah, started this season really well. And I just find sometimes at Haydock, it's a funny track, they go so quick, and it was 2-2. I don't think it really suited her around there, and she just got a bit tied up in the last sort of 100 yards. So we'll regroup and get her back over 2.5, and probably just ride her a bit more patiently, and because she is, like you say, she is enthusiastic, and sometimes she probably just over-raced a little bit at Haydock. But yeah, whatever happens for the rest of the season, really looking forward to jumping fences next season. She's just a very nice mare to have around. She's really intelligent, and yeah, lucky to have her. We've got a handicap mark now of 120. I'd like to think she's pretty well in off that. So, if she'd have gone and won nicely at Haydock last time, then it sort of changes your mind a little bit. But while we sort of have already got 2 wins this season with her, she's got a handicap mark. I think just try and look after her, try and win another one again potentially in a novice handicap or something, and then go chasing next season. So yeah, try not to sort of raise the bar too much and sort of disappoint her, if you like.
Range and a novice winner is a horse with clearly another big future over fences eventually.
Yeah, definitely. He's been a real slow burner, and again, I'd sort of compare him again to Iwilldoit, to be honest, because in the way that he was very fussy with his feed and eating, sort of very sort of slight horse, doesn't carry much condition. But because I've had experience training similar horses now, learning what to do with him slightly, so he doesn't sort of do as much as the rest of the horses. He's so clean in his wind, but a horse which is getting the hang of it better and better as the months go on, and I think next season will be better, and so on and so on. So I could see him potentially being a Welsh National horse one day. He's by Shantou. They love soft, heavy ground. He's got a great record, yeah, I think he's going to be a nice horse. Like I say, it's amazing that for the sort of physical that he is, he's not a big horse, but he's quite slight, that he handled the soft ground or the heavy ground so well at Chepstow. So, you nearly think you need a big burly horse to handle those conditions, but he's the complete opposite. So, yeah, he's a lovely horse, and typical Shantou, just wants to get on with it in a hurry, but he's going to be a really nice horse for the future. And
then Celtic Dino, another horse that's ran possibly in one of the best bumper races this year at Ascot, ran a very good third, you clearly rate him very highly, but another one that's going to be maybe long-term future goals is going to be something else.
Yeah, he's a stunning horse. He's such a big, rangy, big striding horse. Still got plenty of growing to do. He's quite slight still, so put up a really good performance first time out. And then, like you say, ran a blinder. We were gutted but delighted at the same time. We thought we might have the next best thing on our hands, and take nothing away from him at all. He finished third, like you say, in the best bumper we've probably seen all season, and the time was 11 seconds quicker than the race we actually won. So he's pretty much run the same race. So we had a quiet time with him since then, freshening him up, and he could well go to Aintree potentially at the end of the season, or just another ordinary bumper potentially, and then look after him ready for next season. He'll be a lovely horse rocking up at Newbury or Kempton or something for a 2-mile novice hurdle.
And he's sort of a year behind the likes of Lump Sum, who probably this time last year was nearly like the apple of your eye, but he's clearly gone on and proved that now. How pleased have you seen to see him materialise this season? Yeah,
he's a star. He's not very big. He's not an awful lot to look at, but I think like if you asked any national hunt trainer, if you had a yard full of authorised in there, you'd be very, very happy. He's just a great little horse to have around. He's a bonny thing, jumps brilliantly. Little bit keen, like he's quite funny. He'll relax really nicely in the gallops in behind, but he soon switches on and then takes a little bit of while to relax again, so he's still got that to learn. I like to think he's still going to keep progressing and learning on the job all the time.
Look forward to plenty of horses that are raced, sort of lovely walk in the parks. We've got a lot of 3-year-olds in the other barns. Can you give us any sort of that maybe have got names now, or the ones that you're really looking forward to seeing that you're kind of nurturing at this stage?
Need a Win, who's another authorised, obviously just turned 4. He's a forward type. He's a little bit heavier than say Lump Sum would be, but he's showing us all the right signs at the minute, and just doing everything nicely really. And again, we won't push any buttons at the minute. Like we could push on and try and really run them towards the end of the season, but I don't ever feel you're really gaining much out of that. I'd rather just get them up to a good level now, school them well, maybe a racecourse gallop and an away day, and then they'll be ready then for cracking on with in October time. So
very exciting.
He's one. Just a Large Whiskey, great name, big no risk at all horse. He sort of reminds me of Grey Diamond. He's a big, tall, rangy horse. Looks like he's going to be a real stayer in the making. He might be one for sort of November, December time next season. But another horse with a bright future.
Who's the real apple of your eye if you could pick one of them from all the lot?
I think everyone there will say it's very obvious, but it's very much Stolen Silver. I think he's a bit like me. He's a bit mad, to be honest with you. So we get on really well. But he's just a bit of a dude, and I don't think anyone else would want to ride him anyway at home, because he's as stupid as he is. But I love him. He's just a real trier, and if any trainer had a horse that tried as much as he did, it would be an easy job.